No, babe, not tonight. How many times have you heard those words? Not tonight, I'm too tired, as she pushes you away when you put your hand on her as you're getting into bed. Not tonight, I feel fat, as she pulls on her no-sex sweatpants after what you thought was a romantic dinner out. Not tonight, I'm too busy, as she sits there, like always, scrolling through Facebook or answering emails. It's not just you, it's most men in long-term relationships. We've heard every excuse in the book, but in the end, they all boil down to the same thing. Not tonight, dear. The old cliche, played for laughs in movies and sitcoms. You can find t-shirts, cartoons, greeting cards, even pillowcases embroidered with this three-word sex life death sentence. Not tonight, dear. In pop culture, it's a joke. But there's nothing funny about it, is there? There's nothing funny about getting rejected by the woman you love again and again until she finally gives in out of guilt and grudgingly lets you have a quickie. No. Occasional obligation sex is not funny. It beats the shit out of your self-esteem. And there's nothing funny about trying to romance her with flowers, candles, dinner, lingerie, trying to figure out what she wants, how to do the right thing, only to have it end in frustration as she pushes you away again. And there's nothing funny about lying in bed next to your wife, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathing, and wondering, is this as good as it's going to get? Am I losing my woman? Or maybe even, am I stuck with this woman? Some men I worked with told me that it's always been this way, that their wife always just had a low sex drive, or she's always been prudish about sex. And some of the men told me it used to be different, but then faded away. So what about you? Maybe when you first met, the sex was great. You two couldn't keep your hands off each other. She'd come over to your house. You'd practically drag her inside, tearing each other's clothes off in a hormone-fueled frenzy of lust. Steal a quickie in the shower before work, a hot, spur-of-the-moment lovemaking session, the kind that catches you both surprised and leaves you in a puddle of hormones and happiness. Or you stay in bed hours on a lazy Sunday morning, enjoying each other's naked bodies and making love again and again, until gradually, no big deal at first, but it all dried up. Maybe you think those times are long gone. Or maybe it was never that way for you. Maybe you fell in love with a woman who was just never really very sexual. Maybe you even thought that kind of life would never be anything but a fantasy for you. Believe me, I know what it's like to feel like the only guy on earth that's not having wild sex. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if I told you that there is a simple, real, and proven formula that can turn back the clock to those honeymoon days of hot, playful, passionate sex? What if I told you this same secret lets you supercharge any woman's libido, make her hungry for sex, and even get her begging you for some special time alone? And what if you could create this kind of intense passion and desire in just 14 days, without spending a fortune on romantic dates, without begging her, and without any pressure, brain games, or manipulation? Well, you'd probably be more than just a little skeptical. That's normal. All of my clients were skeptical. When you've been stuck in a low-sex relationship for months or even years, the idea of hot, hip-quaking sex on demand seems almost impossible. But if you give me a couple of minutes of your time, I'll prove to you that it's possible to trigger this kind of insatiable sexual desire in your woman once you know how. Why she never wants to make love anymore? The answer is going to surprise you. Hi, my name is Alex Solomon. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, and sex coach from New York. And over the last 10 years, I've helped thousands of men unlock their secret sexual superpowers, rekindle the romance and passion in dying relationships, and enjoy better, more frequent sex. And today, I'd like to help you do the same. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a proven seduction system that you can use tonight to get your wife hungry for sex, even if she hasn't been interested in months or even years. I'm also going to explain why she never wants to make love anymore. Hint, the real reason has nothing to do with her hormones or how tired or busy she is. And I'll show you a super simple way to rekindle the spark, supercharge her sex drive, and even turn the tables and get her begging and quivering for your sexual touch. But first, a word of warning. The secrets I'm about to share with you are the result of over 10 years of trial and error, hundreds of hours of scientific research, and a decade of real-world testing. In other words, there's no fluff or academic theory. The tactics I'm about to reveal are tested and proven to work in the real world, and they can turn your sex life and relationship around almost overnight. So if you're not 100% serious about wanting better sex more often and enjoying more intimate, loving, and more satisfying sex life, If you have some religious or ethical objection to supercharging your woman's sex drive and helping her to unleash her inner nympho, or if you're only interested in this stuff for your own reasons and don't really care about your woman's sexual and emotional satisfaction, then please turn back now, because there is nothing in this video for you. The secrets I'm about to reveal will only shock you, upset you, and may even offend you. However, if you're the kind of man who wants better, hotter, more passionate sex with a woman that he loves, or if you're a man who wants a direct blueprint to ensuring that he knows how to keep the sex hot forever in his next relationship, and if you want to give her earth-shattering, wake-up-the-neighbors orgasm, the kind that leave her sweaty, gasping, and smiling with satisfaction, and if you're willing to follow a simple, step-by-step plan to help your woman break through her emotional and sexual roadblocks and finally enjoy the kind of erotic intimacy and connection she needs, then keep watching. Because in the next few minutes, you'll discover the real reason why your woman stopped wanting sex and how you can fix the problem in as little as 14 days. You'll hear about the secret fantasy that holds the key to unlocking any woman's sexual passion and how you can use it to turn a cold, unresponsive housewife into your insatiable sex kitten. And you'll discover how to become the only man who can give her the sexual satisfaction she craves, get her literally begging for it, and even asking to try out naughty new things she's always refused to do for you in the past. And before I go into the nuts and bolts of this secret seduction system, I want to show you why these secrets are so powerful and how they can work for you, even if your woman's ice cold and hasn't wanted sex in years. There's a secret playmate switch hidden in every woman's brain. You see, there's a simple reason why your woman has lost interest in sex. And contrary to what she'll tell you, it has nothing to do with age, her body image, or her hormones. The real reason your woman doesn't want to make love anymore is because of a little-known sex trigger deep inside her brain. I call it the playmate switch because it actually turns her into your willing and fun sexual playmate in the bedroom. And if you don't know how to work her playmate switch, it doesn't matter what you do. You can buy her flowers, take her out dancing, even get your mother to take the kids for the night and spring for a surprise romantic getaway. You can be the most loving and supportive partner in the world, the kind of guy her friends dream about. Hell, you could have Brad Pitt's face, six-pack abs, a porn star cock, and the ability to give her hour-long orgasms that wake up the neighbors, and she still won't have any interest in sex, because unless her playmate switch is turned on, it's biologically impossible for her to get even a little bit aroused. And it doesn't matter how much she loves you. It doesn't matter if she thinks you're the sexiest guy on the block. It doesn't even matter if you're the best lover she's ever had. If you don't know how to flip her secret playmate switch, she won't want to fuck, ever. And she can't do a thing about it, even if she wants to. Now, obviously, you already know that most men haven't a clue about it. The simple proof is how few couples have been together for a couple of years and still have a great sex life once that novelty factor wears off. But here's the good news. Once you know how to flip your woman's secret playmate switch, you can supercharge her sex drive almost overnight. When you know this secret, you can rekindle the spark in your relationship and return to those honeymoon days of fun, passionate sex on demand. You can turn a cold, distant woman into your naughty little girl by helping her banish her hidden sexual roadblocks and help her experience new levels of sexual satisfaction. And you can enjoy the kind of deep intimacy and powerful erotic connection most couples only dream of. And give your woman the security and sexual confidence to drop her guard and finally give in to her deepest, darkest fantasies. Here's how it works. This secret playmate switch may sound like magic, but it's not. It's science. When you turn a woman's sex switch on, her brain is flooded with a feel-good chemical called dopamine. You've probably heard about dopamine before. It's part of the pleasure and reward system buried in the deepest, oldest part of the human brain. You may also know that dopamine is how our brain rewards us for taking risks. It's released when you drive too fast, when you roll the dice on a big bet, when you eat forbidden foods like pizza, beer, or chocolate. It's even the reason that pleasurable illegal drugs are addictive. What you may not know is that dopamine also plays a critical role in sexual arousal, especially in women. In fact, this feel-good brain chemical is the key to supercharging your woman's sex drive. Dopamine is the first link in a chain reaction of irresistible sexual arousal. When you hit your woman's playmate switch the right way, her brain is flooded with dopamine. Then she starts to tingle from head to toe with a full body rush of intense pleasure and arousal, and a split second later, the sexual chain reaction begins. Her heart begins to thump, she starts breathing faster, and she feels those butterflies in her stomach. At the same time, her Her sex hormones like progesterone and estrogen skyrocket. Her face flushes, her nipples stiffen, and her pussy gets soaking wet. The result? Your woman feels a sudden rush of sexual attraction, intense lust, and an overwhelming desire for hot, steamy, no-holds-barred animal sex. And this sexual chain reaction happens fast. In fact, one study found it takes just 0.2 of a second. That's literally as fast as saying the word sex. It's the same switch that's activated automatically by the excitement of forbidden romance, new love, and the thrill of being with a new man. When that sudden rush of desire hits her, she has no choice but to give in. That's because your woman's secret playmate switch is in the deepest, most primal level of her brain, the part that governs gut-level animal emotions like fear, anger, and lust. In other words, she has no idea this hidden sex switch even exists. All she knows is how it makes her feel. And frankly, it wouldn't matter even if she did know. She'd still throw herself on you and rip your clothing off like a sex-crazed nympho. But don't worry. Despite the power of this secret playmate switch, there's nothing unethical about using it. In fact, this secret trigger also restores that giddy head over heels in love feeling that she had back in the honeymoon days of your relationship. A feeling every woman craves at her deepest level. Your woman desperately wants, even needs you to hit her playmate switch in the right way and on a daily basis, even if she doesn't know it. Look, I know it's not politically correct to say so, but women need their medicine. When women don't get laid regularly, they get cranky, they get negative, and even depressed. And as messed up as it seems, when that happens, because they're in a crappy mood, they want sex even less. They reject sex even more, and it seems nearly impossible to turn her on. And if you were to suggest to your woman that she needs a good oil change when she's in this state, not only would she disagree and say that sex is the last thing on her mind, she'd quite likely blow up in anger at your suggestion. It doesn't matter that you're right. It's a dangerous downward spiral. And here's how you can turn it all around. By now, you're probably wondering exactly how you can turn on your woman's secret playmate switch. And I'm going to take the next few minutes to tell you about 3 sexual breakthroughs that can supercharge any woman's sex drive almost overnight. I'm going to tell you about 3 different clients that I worked with, the mistakes and issues that were destroying their sex lives, and how these 3 breakthroughs worked for them to turn things around, flip the playmate switch to the on position for their wives and girlfriends, and how they can work for you too, so that you can start having the best sex of your life with a partner who's hungry and eager for you to make love to her. Like these 3 men, chances are that right now you're making a few small but devastating mistakes. Mistakes that make it impossible to turn your woman's playmate switch on no matter how hard you try. And until you fix the problem, all the seduction tactics in the world won't do you a bit of good. The crazy part, these mistakes are exactly what most sex experts, relationship therapists, and marriage counselors tell you to do. On the surface, their advice seems totally logical, but in reality, it's just throwing a bucket of ice-cold water on the fires of her libido. Here's why. When you make these common mistakes, you send out subliminal signals that tell her animal brain to hold back the dopamine, which presses the big off button on your woman's playmate switch. And what's even worse, and what so many men that I've worked with in the past have experienced, is that when you're inadvertently sending these signals that flip the off switch, she'll sometimes resist even trying to make things better. She might even get angry when you want to talk about it and insist that she just doesn't have any interest in sex at all. And it's all completely out of her control. She might still think you're the best looking guy around, the most loving husband she could imagine, and she still won't want to make love, all because of these simple and common mistakes. It's frustrating for her too. The good news, fixing this problem is actually easy. You can reverse these attraction-killing mistakes into powerful, subliminal signals that flood her brain with dopamine and trigger overwhelming lust and desire. Anger becomes playfulness, disinterest becomes desire for connection, and icy resistance becomes genuine warmth and juicy horniness whenever you're around her. Sexual breakthrough number 1 is the sexual polarity flip. When my client Blake contacted me, he was at the end of his rope. When he first got together with his girlfriend Sarah, the sex was incredible for both of them. But by the time I started working with them, they hadn't had sex in more than a month. And Sarah, who was quite a few years older than Blake, confided in me that she was afraid that maybe she just didn't have any libido anymore. She was afraid it was just hormones, but I assured her that was certainly not the case. Without knowing it, Blake was giving off subtle signals that were keeping Sarah's hidden playmate switch firmly in the off position. The frustrating thing? He thought he was doing everything right. Because Sarah was not only older, but also much more sexually experienced than him, he felt comfortable asking her directly what he could do to turn her on. He was a good communicator, and she was quite comfortable telling him in great detail exactly what used to always work on her, and he followed every one of her instructions exactly to a T. But nothing worked. Since Sarah's sex trigger was turned off, she just couldn't get interested in sex, even though she told me that Blake was pretty much her ideal man, and it was breaking her heart. This was frustrating and scary for her. She was filled with doubt about her own femininity and worried about her sex drive ever returning. And that made her frequently irritable and angry with him for no reason. And the consistent failure was even harder on Blake, who started having performance problems from the anxiety, which obviously only made things worse. Each of them felt like they were watching helplessly as their relationship just fell apart. And during our first session, it was instantly obvious to me why Sarah lost interest in sex. So I told Blake all about her hidden playmate switch and how they had accidentally been literally stomping it off. I showed him something I call the sexual polarity flip. And before we go any further, I want to make it 100% clear. The sexual polarity flip has nothing to do with what you say, your body language, or the way you touch her. The reason the technique works is simple. The truth is that almost every guy in a long-term relationship does the same thing Blake did. It's virtually automatic, and chances are you'll never even know about it when it's happening to you. In fact, these signals are triggered by the very behaviors women say they want in a man. Fortunately, the sexual polarity flip fixes the problem instantly. You see, you use the sexual polarity flip to project a powerful subliminal signal, a signal that your woman picks up on subconsciously, a signal that goes right to her animal brain and trips her hidden playmate switch in an irresistible way. The subconscious sexual reaction happens almost instantly, and it's fun to watch. When that happens, your woman instantly feels sexy and desirable. She also experiences a sudden rush of intense urges to have your hands on her body. She gets that butterflies in the stomach feeling that all women love. The best part, once you know how, you can keep this wave of desire flowing for hours, days, even weeks. As you may guess, this makes the sexual polarity flip incredibly effective. Most men who use it see their sex lives do a 180-degree turnaround in just 14 days or less. And that's exactly what happened to Blake and Sarah. I ran into Blake at a seminar a few months back, and this time he was all smiles, and for good reason. You see, now he and Sarah have a new and much better bedroom problem. Sarah wants sex, a lot of sex, so much that Blake's having a hard time keeping up with her. Amazingly, Blake told me that he went from not having sex at all to making love sometimes 2 or 3 times a day on the weekends, and all because of a single technique that transformed Blake's subconscious lust-destroying signals, flipped Sarah's playmate switch on and kept it there. But the sexual polarity flip is just the starting point. In fact, it's just one part of a sexual reignition system to give couples a roadmap for creating passion and attraction that lasts. It's a blueprint for becoming the man that your woman desires and supercharging her sex drive, even if she's been cold and distant for years. I'm going to tell you all about this breakthrough seduction system in a few minutes, but first I'd like to show you another secret that will get your woman begging for sex without you saying a word. I call it enlightened objectifying. Okay, so here's a pop quiz. What do James Bond, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, Al Pacino's character from Scent of a Woman, Christian Grey from the blockbuster erotic novel 50 Shades of Grey, Quagmire from Family Guy, and Booger from Revenge of the Nerds all have in common? Give up? Well, the answer is they all end up screwing the hot chicks. What you probably don't know is why women are so attracted to these types of men. And yeah, I know, they're fictional characters, but the writers and all of the rest of us also recognize these types of characters from our own real lives. These guys always end up getting laid. Now, as men, we understand why 007 is getting some. I mean, he's macho, he's handsome, he's deadly, and he's the baddest bad boy in town. He's a guy that makes sense to us. And he's also exactly the kind of stereotype character that confuses men about what actually gets women irresistibly turned on. We can even make sense out of Lieutenant Colonel Slade, too, because even though he's elderly, blind, and walks with a limp, and nearly has Tourette syndrome with all his bursts of hoo-ah, I mean, hey, he's still Al Pacino. Now, the douchebag sadist Christian Grey is a little more frustrating because we all know that in actual real life, millions of actual women masturbate over just the idea of him. And if you're a man and you've read even a few pages of this crap, it might make you swear off women for life. It's literally that idiotic. And then we get to Quagmire and Booger. Now, I had a friend in high school just like Booger, and you probably did too. And it used to drive me crazy that this guy was getting girls when I wasn't. Now, what these guys actually have in common is that they objectify women. Yes, you heard that right. They treat women like sex objects, which of course is exactly what every woman on earth, from your mom to your best female friend to the woman in your own bed, will tell you to never do. And if you do this the wrong way, and you may have already experienced this, you could get yelled at for being a creep or even slapped in the face. But it doesn't matter. Time and time again, beautiful women choose this type of guy for sex over all other options. Even though these same women truly believe they don't want to be objectified, and most of the time they actually don't, they still end up in bed with men like this, especially for a short, purely sexual fling. And for good reason. It's hardwired into their DNA to respond this way. And that's great news, especially for men like you and me, because you don't have to turn into some sort of alpha male, act like a jerk, or become a drooling douchebag in order to make it work for you. I teach a technique that I call enlightened objectification, and it actually works best for good men who want to crank up the passion and desire in a relationship. What's more, this secret works on any woman. It doesn't matter if you just met, if you've been married for 30 years, or even if you're just friends. When you know this secret, she'll feel an intense and irresistible wave of sexual desire whenever you want her to. In fact, in the right hands, the enlightened objectification technique can supercharge a woman's sex drive almost instantly, and even turn a cold, distant woman into your naughty little girl. My client Mark had a common and frustrating problem. He and his wife Jennifer were crazy about each other. They both loved sex. In fact, they even took a bunch of tantra classes together. And Mark learned how to give Jennifer prolonged, intense orgasms that left her extremely satisfied. Sounds great, right? But there was just one problem. Even though Jennifer loved Mark, and even though he was a loving and supportive husband, and even though he had what anyone would call like high-level bedroom skills, she was losing her attraction to him. In fact, she actually talked to him about having an open marriage so she could sleep with other men. Can you imagine how painful it is to have your wife ask you for that when you're doing everything you can to satisfy her? You see, Jennifer was constantly fantasizing about an old boyfriend, a total douchebag who treated her exactly like a sex object and would simply throw her down and fuck her whenever he felt like it. But here's where it gets crazy, my friend. She told me that she almost never had an orgasm during these sexual encounters. She said he always finished too quickly and he didn't know the first thing about how to pleasure a woman. And yet, just thinking about him made her wet with desire. As Jennifer finally came clean in our session together, she started to cry. I mean, she felt guilty and ashamed about her secret desire to be dominated and used like that. She felt like there was something wrong with her. But she had no choice. This stuff really is hardwired into human DNA. Honestly, even before she told me this story, I understood the real problem. I could tell, just from the way that Mark talked about her, that this was the missing piece. In our next session over the phone, I taught Mark the enlightened objectification technique. And he resisted the idea at first. He thought I was crazy. He didn't want to do something that he thought would disrespect his wife. But once he tried it, everything changed overnight. In our final call, Jennifer told me she felt a level of sexual fulfillment she never imagined possible. Even she didn't realize what it was that she'd been wanting from her husband, and so she'd never been capable of explaining it to him. And now she experienced even more intense orgasms from Mark's already advanced skills as a lover. And they created the kind of intense, deeply connected, passionate relationship and sex life that most couples can only dream about. And all because Mark discovered the power of this simple attraction secret. There's one more relationship tactic I'd like to tell you about today, and it may be the most powerful of them all when it comes to making passion last for a lifetime and make love deepen over time. Sexual breakthrough number 3 is the appreciation ladder. My client James came to me because his marriage was becoming a constant source of anxiety and frustration. Diane constantly complained and badgered him about everything. He couldn't do anything right. And not surprisingly, they were having serious problems in the sex and romance department. James was practically shaking with frustrated disappointment as he told me how when they first met 5 years earlier at Burning Man, it was all romance, sex, and fun. He also told me that when they did have sex, she seemed to like it, and yet she never initiated. And with this constant complaining and blaming him all the time, he was frankly not that interested in initiating sex with her either. And so at this point, they were basically not having sex at all. By the time James came to me, he had one foot out the door, and he was only holding on for the sake of their 4-year-old daughter. To make matters worse, Diane refused to participate in our sessions together. Now, I know that this hurt him, and it put an even deeper wedge in their relationship, but I also knew that he could fix this thing for the both of them, if he were willing and had the courage to see it through. In our single session together, I helped James see that he and Diane were locked in a cycle that went something like this. Her complaining, him trying to fix it and please her, which caused her to test him, more trying to please her, more complaining, more testing. And one of the nearly impossible things for couples to handle in these situations is that you can never figure out who started it. You can never figure out who to blame for getting into a negative cycle. Actually, it's a bit worse than that. See, you can easily blame your partner every time. And since Diane was the one who was actually doing all of the testing and complaining, it was pretty clear that it was all her fault. Now, the fact that she refused to show up made it clear to me that she felt the opposite. She felt it was completely his fault. This is the kind of thing that drives men into a lifetime of anger with women. And that's a shame, because if you have the balls to let go of your justified anger, it's not only easy to fix, it's also fun and fulfilling. And the way to do it gives most men a brain meltdown when they try it, because it seems impossible for this to work. Because it doesn't involve either sucking up to her and giving in to her demands and admitting you're wrong, or standing your ground and showing her why she's wrong. It's none of those things. So I gave James 3 simple practices to try out. He was very doubtful, but he agreed to try it for a few weeks for the sake of his marriage. And he was shocked to discover that within a week, the testing completely stopped. In fact, his marriage did a 180-degree turnaround. Diane no longer spends her time bitching and moaning about James. Instead, she's constantly telling him how much she appreciates him and loves him. And even better, she's showing her appreciation. James called me to tell me their sex life is now amazing, and that Diane even surprises him with blowjobs just to show him how grateful he is for everything that he does for her. Impossible? I can't blame you for feeling like it sounds too good to be true. And honestly, I have to give all the credit to James, because even though these practices are simple, they're sometimes really scary for men to try them out. And James threw himself into it like a champ, all for the sake of love. It was the simplest of the 3 techniques that James credits for being the most powerful and the most surprising thing that turned things around. I call it the appreciation ladder. And here's how brain dead simple it is. All you have to do is take 2 minutes a day, first thing in the morning, before your brain has a chance to get preoccupied with any other thing, and write down 3 to 5 things that you appreciate about your woman. Now, it doesn't matter what you write down. All that matters is that they are 100% true, and that part is critical. And for some men stuck in sour relationships, it can be hard to come up with anything, much less 3 to 5. But maybe it's how she smiles at your kids in the morning, or the way she curls her legs under her while she's watching TV, or even how great her ass looks in yoga pants. It doesn't matter if you write down the same thing every day, day after day. In fact, it doesn't even matter if she never sees or hears anything about your appreciation journal. Remember, women are much more emotionally sensitive than we are. So she actually feels this invisible wave of authentic appreciation, even if you never say a word. But this practice, it isn't even designed to work on her. It works on you. Here's a simple truth about humans. I knew that if Diane was the one complaining and James wasn't complaining, then of course he must have been feeling a deep but unspoken resentment. Now, can you guess how sexy hidden resentment is to women? Now, she was feeling the disconnect between him trying to fix things on the surface and a very different truth about his feelings, which was that he wanted to throw her out a window. And it was that disconnect, that inauthenticity, that was causing those testing behaviors. So the appreciation ladder made her feel like James was congruent and authentic with being her husband. Even when he was angry, even when he was trying to fix her, it calmed her animal brain so that she could feel her libido again. And when your woman picks up on these feelings of appreciation, dopamine floods her brain. Her lust-boosting hormones go through the roof, and her playmate switch is free to flip to the on position. But that's not all. You see, the appreciation ladder also makes your woman brain pump out another feel-good hormone called oxytocin. You may have heard about oxytocin before. It's also known as the cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is released in huge amounts when a woman falls deeply in love, and it triggers powerful feelings of emotional intimacy. So not only does the appreciation ladder trigger intense sexual desire, it also creates a deeper, more loving relationship. And that can lead to spontaneous, intense, passionate lovemaking sessions, the kind that leave you both grinning from ear to ear all day long. Now, naturally, it's twice as powerful if you and your partner try doing this at the same time. Now, you can decide for yourselves if you want to show the journals to each other or not. It works either way. And even though I know it sounds too magical to be real, 2 minutes a day, I do hope you'll just try it to see for yourself. This is the most powerful seduction system for men in long-term relationships. These breakthroughs have been shockingly effective for countless frustrated men. Time and again, they've been proven to work even when everything else failed. But these techniques I just talked about are just a small piece of a larger system. Passion and attraction that lasts. The blueprint for becoming the man that your woman desires and supercharging her sex drive. When you log in to Passion and Attraction that lasts, you'll also discover a play-by-play game plan for reigniting her sex drive and overcoming her low libido, her sexual hang-ups, menopause, all of those difficult and complex hurdles to increasing a woman's sex drive. And yes, these issues really are complex. I'm not promising an overnight fix for every woman, but these strategies work and have worked. Even for men who've tried everything else in the past and nearly given up hope, they're going to work for you too. There's a 2,500-year-old secret to effortless seduction. You just do this one simple thing, and she'll give you all the sex you can handle. And what's more, she'll think it's her idea. There's a foreplay fast forward, an unexpected foreplay secret that gets her hot, wet, and ready to go in as little as 30 seconds, and without you saying a word. I'm going to show you how to give your woman that butterflies in the stomach feeling every time she thinks about you, even if you've been married for decades. Many of the men reported back to me that it made them feel like more of a man, too, when she felt that way about him. I'm going to show you secrets of sexual alchemy, how to turn her stressful workday into a source of hot, no-holds-barred sexual passion. It's proven to work for any man, any kind of relationship, as long as you do this one thing. A simple but powerful technique that forces her to fantasize about you all day long and gets her to practically rip your clothing off the second she walks through the door. I'm going to show you how to banish your fear of rejection in just 3 simple steps. The key is this mental trick that makes facing your worst anxieties a breeze, and you'll feel twice the confidence in every area of your life. And there's 5 simple rules for the ultimate effortless seduction. This is a step-by-step plan that works with any woman and every woman, whether you've just met or you've been married for years. And hundreds of happy men have told me it works. I'm going to show you how to program your woman for spontaneous sexual encounters anytime, anywhere. It's a psychological seduction tactic that only sounds illegal. I'm going to share 5 attraction-killing mistakes that almost every man makes. One of them happens to be asking, is everything okay? And the other 4 are revealed inside. I want to show you how to cheat-proof your relationship in just one easy step. The full story is revealed in the program. I'm going to show you why doing certain household chores can ruin your sex life. It's strange, but it's true. And the 3 magic words that get your woman to eagerly rip your clothing off, even if she's too tired for sex. But it only works if you do something completely counterintuitive first. I'm going to tell you about a natural aphrodisiac that turns a cold woman into a naughty little girl. No pills, no weird foods, no drugs required, and it is amazing. I'm going to show you the 7 deadly sins of seduction. And it's important that you know these because just one of these mistakes is like throwing cold water on the fires of your libido, and most men are making at least 3 of them. I'm going to show you how to avoid them and even turn them to your advantage. And I'm going to share a secret pleasure button that every woman has, but most men ignore, and hint, it's not the clitoris or the G-spot. I'm going to show you 8 poison words that drive her into the arms of another man. There's this one question that destroys trust, ruins intimacy, and actually makes her see you as the ultimate beta male. You'll learn what it is, you'll learn how to avoid it. And we're going to talk about the secret sexual fantasies that every woman has, but no woman ever admits to. Plus, how to use them to turn ordinary sex into a wild night of no-holds-barred passion. And I want to show you how to get her to try new things in bed without any pressure or guilting or shame. The secret is a once-a-day habit that gently opens the door to new levels of sexual experience. If there are some secret fantasies you've had that you never thought you could even mention to your woman, this one thing is going to change your life. And I'm going to show you how to reclaim your sex life from the time monster of daily pressures, kids, work, anxiety, exhaustion, and daily life. And this one, honestly, is never going to be easy unless you win the lottery or something. But if your romantic life is worth it, this is the one true way that I know that works to get your sex life back on track, and much, much more. And by now, you're probably wondering, okay, so how much does passion and attraction cost? I'm going to tell you that in a few moments. But first, I need to ask you a question. How much is it worth to you to have a more satisfying, intimate, and passionate relationship? How much is it worth to make not tonight a thing of the past and enjoy more satisfying, more intimate, and more passionate sex with a woman that you love and as often as you like? How much would it be worth to know that she's thinking about you at the gym, at work, or running errands with a dreamy smile on her face, fantasizing about the moment she finally comes home, closes the door, and attacks you in a sexual frenzy of pent-up lust and desire? How much would that feeling be worth? The gut-level knowledge that you can turn your woman's playmate switch on at will, reignite her libido, and get her practically dragging you into the bedroom whenever you like. This is $5,000 worth of proven seduction strategies for a fraction of the price. Until recently, the breakthrough secrets in passion and attraction that last were restricted only to my private clients. So if you wanted to find out how to use proven seduction tactics like the sexual polarity flip, the enlightened objectification technique, or the appreciation ladder, you'd have to book time in my cram schedule and then pay me $500 per hour, which I recently raised to $700 an hour. And unfortunately, I'm booked at least 6 months in advance. I usually only accept a few new clients every year. So even if you wanted to hire me, I probably wouldn't have time to help you. But when you log into Passion and Attraction That Lasts, you get access to all of these sexual breakthroughs, plus more than 24 other proven seduction secrets and more than 7 full hours of my best of the best strategies. And it's all in an easy-to-use video format that you can watch on your schedule. Plus, you get detailed transcripts of every session too. Now, at my current rate of $700 an hour, the video content alone is worth more than $4,900. Add to that the value of the transcripts and the additional bonus gifts, and I could easily call it $6,000 or $7,000 or more. Now, that is a lot of money. But frankly, it would be a small price to pay to save your relationship from mediocrity. A small price to pay to leave behind that daily frustration and pain of knowing you're missing out on one of the most important pleasures of life. A small price to pay to put thoughts of divorce or cheating or just plain hopeless loneliness out of your mind. A small price to pay to feel the pride and gratitude of being one of those very few couples who have a juicy, passionate, and sexually playful relationship for life. But of course, if I charged that much, I'd be excluding way too many men who watched this video and couldn't afford it even if they wanted to. And that's not what I got into this for. So, of course, if you take action now, you won't pay anywhere near that kind of cash. Men who came to a private workshop that I held earlier this year paid $500 each, plus hotels, meals, and most of them flew in from distant cities around the world. And all of them said the information was worth at least 10 times what it cost them. But you're not going to have to pay the thousands that these men and my private clients paid. You won't even pay the $397 that my marketing consultant told me I should charge for this relationship-saving program. This is a special offer. And this video is part of an advertising test. And as part of this test, you're going to get a very special deal. Why? Actually, there's two reasons. First, I want to make sure that Passion and Attraction That Lasts is available to as many men as possible. And that means keeping it affordable for guys that are juggling a mortgage or the rent, car payment, family expenses, and more. Second, I want you to be fully confident in your decision to use this breakthrough seduction system and to make sure that you get 100% of the results that you deserve. That's why I'm also going to give you 3 additional bonus gifts just for taking action today. Bonus gift 1, the Casanova Code. It's the thinking man's guide to ethical seduction. As you can see, the secrets that I reveal in Passion and Attraction are powerful, and they're so powerful that they tend to have some unintended side effects. Let me explain. Remember earlier, I told you about those secret sex signals that flip a woman's playmate switch. Well, once you start using the secrets in Passion and Attraction That Lasts, you'll likely start to send out these masculine sexual signals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The result is you become much more attracted to women, all types of women. And in fact, you may find that you accidentally trigger lustful thoughts and desires in your female friends, coworkers, even your wife's girlfriends. That sounds pretty good, right? And to be honest, knowing you can attract women at will is kind of fun and it feels great. But if you're an honest guy in a loving relationship, it can also raise some truly unexpected problems for you. And just imagine how you'd feel if men constantly made passes at your wife, often right in front of you. It would feel disrespectful. It might even make you start to feel a little bit pissed off, punch a guy in the nose. So unless you want to deal with a jealous wife or girlfriend or leave behind a trail of pissed off women who might be unavoidable in your work and social life, you need to know how to gently deflect and dance with these sexual advances without causing her feelings, jealousy, or resentment in your partner or other women. And that's why I created my new special report, the Casanova Code. Inside, you'll discover how to gracefully and ethically handle the flood of female attention so that it's fun, but without damaging your relationships. You'll also find out how to use the newfound powers of attraction to turn your woman on even more and take her to a whole new level of sexual openness and intimacy. In fact, when you use the secrets in the Casanova Code, you may get the shock of your life. You see, some women respond to their man's newfound sexual power in unusual and unexpected ways. For instance, she may start to tease her girlfriends with stories about your steamy sex life, just to see the looks on their faces. Or she may suddenly start kissing and caressing you in public, or even dragging you into a bathroom at a party, to mark her territory. And in some cases, men have told me in absolute shock that she brought another woman to come play. Even women who never thought about a threesome before. That sounds crazy, I know, but happened quite recently to a client from New York, and it's not the first time I've heard it. In his case, his girlfriend of 3 years was losing interest in sex, but when he applied one of the strategies revealed in the Casanova Code, she became sexually insatiable. And the next thing he knew, she actually suggested they start seducing other women together, bringing them home for wild, no-holds-barred, steamy sexual marathons. Now, you may not see the same kind of results. And not every man even wants that kind of thing with his partner. But I guarantee that the strategies in the Casanova Code will make a dramatic difference in your sex life and the way that you relate to women in general and the way to make your woman very, very happy. This valuable report, valued at $47, but if you take action today, you get it at no cost. It's my way of saying thanks for trying Passion and Attraction That Lasts, and frankly, it's an important piece of information for you to have once you begin this program. And that's not all. When you claim your risk-free trial, you're also going to receive another valuable bonus gift, the simple secrets of great sex. Now, if you're like many of the men that go through this program, you'll quickly discover a fun new problem. You're going to have more sex, a lot more sex. How much more? Well, remember Blake, his wife was literally dragging him into the bedroom once, twice, or 3 times a day. And lucky for him, he's 15 years younger than her, but he's going to hit 30 one day too. And he's not alone. In fact, I've had dozens of men who tell me the secrets in Passion and Attraction That Lasts almost works too well. A lot of guys start getting laid so often that their old go-to positions and techniques start to feel a bit stale. And that's the last thing you want, especially if your woman is practically begging you for sex every day. That's why I'm going to give you another bonus gift when you log in. It's a free copy of my brand new Simple Secrets of Great Sex. Inside this unique sex manual, you'll discover a weird trick that makes your cock feel 25% longer and thicker and lets you hit deep pleasure points in her vagina that most men can't touch. You do this right, and she will be screaming your name after just a few thrusts. I'm going to show you 5 hidden erotic zones that every woman has, but most guys ignore. One of them is her feet, and the rest found inside the program. And there's a boring sex position, seems boring, that can trigger earth-shattering orgasms in your woman in less than 2 minutes. And the key is a little-known technique that stimulates her G-spot and her clit at the same time. And there's much, much more. The Simple Secrets of Great Sex isn't currently available anywhere else. You can only get it as part of this special advertising test. And you get it 100% free of charge just for trying out Passion and Attraction That Lasts today. There's one more special bonus I want to tell you about. Total sexual confidence. Mastering new sexual techniques can bring your woman to faster, more powerful orgasms, but it's the first step to becoming the best lover she's ever had. And to reach that lofty goal, physical techniques really aren't enough. What you need is bulletproof sexual confidence, the kind of confidence that makes her shudder with pleasure at your touch, fantasize about you all day long, and brag to her girlfriends about her amazing sex life. And that kind of confidence starts in your mind. In this special report, you'll discover how to banish performance anxiety in one easy step. No drugs, no supplements. The real secret is this mental Viagra. It's safe, it's free, it works for any man. And there's a 1,500-year-old meditation trick that I found that erases sexual anxiety and makes you radiate powerful masculine confidence and sexuality. And this one technique not only improves your sex life and relationship, but increases your confidence in every area of life. It's worth the price of the entire program all by itself. And I'm going to show you a Jedi mind trick that gives you instant erotic mastery of the female body. This powerful mental technique unlocks hidden sexual power overnight, and it makes women feel giggly and girly and sexy whenever you switch it on. And there's so much more. Total sexual confidence would be a no-brainer at a sale price of $97, but again, you get it for free just for test driving Passion and Attraction That Lasts today. And here's your better than risk-free guarantee. When you log into Passion and Attraction, you get instant access to the same sexual relationship secrets I share with my $700 per hour clients. And you can try these proven strategies for yourself at no risk, no strings attached. I'm so confident that Passion and Attraction will work for you that I'd like to make you a special offer. You try Passion and Attraction That Lasts at no risk for a full 60 days. Follow the simple step-by-step system, and I guarantee that you will be amazed at how fast you'll see results. In fact, if your sex life doesn't change dramatically, if you're not having better sex more often, or if you're not completely thrilled for any reason at all, just send me an email and you'll get a prompt and courteous refund every penny that you paid. No questions asked, no hassles, no runarounds. Actually, I offer this guarantee on all of my programs because it's essential to the way I do business. It's my responsibility that you're satisfied and that you get the results that you want. And to give you the best chance for success, you can evaluate any of my programs for 2 full months. You are both the judge and the jury. And that's why you get to test drive Passion and Attraction That Lasts for 2 full months with no risk whatsoever. Of course, you can exercise the ironclad guarantee at any time during your 60-day trial, and all of the special reports, including Simple Secrets to Great Sex, are yours to keep just for taking this important step of trying out this new and powerful system. And if you act now, you'll save over 81%. Total value of Passion and Attraction, including the 3 bonus gifts, is over $500. But today, you won't even pay half that amount. I want to make these sex secrets available to as many men as possible. And I don't want price to be an issue. That's why we initially decided to offer Passion and Attraction That Lasts for just $297. But here's an even better deal. As part of this special marketing test, you get Passion and Attraction That Lasts for the amazing value price of just $97. Important note here, we retain the right to revoke this advertising test price and set any alternate price for the program, which could be as much as 3 times higher, or any other price at our sole discretion, and or remove the special bonus programs at any time and without notice, written or electronic. Though additional advertising tests may be available from time to time in the future, I can't guarantee that we'll offer this program with these bonuses again. So why not claim your risk-free trial now before it's too late? All you have to do is click the button below, and once you log in, you'll get instant access to proven passion-enhancing sexual attraction and seduction tactics like the appreciation ladder, enlightened objectification, the sexual polarity flip. Plus, you get access to my proven 5-step effortless seduction plan and dozens of other tips, strategies, and insights to revive her sex drive and make her hungry for sex again. Have her pressing her body against you with hot lust in her eyes and turn her back into the fun and sexy playmate that you want to spend your life with. Plus, all 3 bonus reports. The best part, since Passion and Attraction lasts and all the bonus gifts are 100% digital, you can start using the secrets right away and see results almost overnight. Plus, you're completely protected by my better than risk-free guarantee. You get 60 full days to decide if Passion and Attraction is right for you. If you're not 100% satisfied, any reason, you just send me an email. You'll get a prompt and courteous refund of every penny you paid, no questions asked. Just go ahead, click the button at the bottom of your screen right now. What path are you going to choose? Listen, as men, we have choices in life that determine the path for ourselves and for our family. And right now, you have such a choice. You can keep doing what you're doing now, settling for a life of sex once a week, once a month, or even less. You can keep feeling frustrated, resentful, and angry that your natural male need for sex and intimacy is being ignored. And you can keep watching helplessly as the woman you love becomes more and more distant, moody, and frustrated with you, and deal with the inevitable end result of a passionless marriage. Or you can take action right now and discover a proven system that supercharges your woman's sex drive, rekindles the passion and romance, and puts you in control of your love life. Imagine coming home from work and having her push you onto the couch with a playful smile as she eagerly unbuckles your belt and gives you a toe-curling blowjob. Imagine how incredible it'll feel when she surprises you with her sexy new lingerie and then practically drags you into the bedroom and gets on top of you with hips gyrating against you like a porn star. Yeah, that's right, your woman. And imagine how good you'll feel after an intense lovemaking session, one that leaves her happy and exhausted and sleepy from orgasm after orgasm, and she smiles contentedly and curls up in your arms. How full and beautiful would your life feel if you had that to come home to? I want you and your woman to enjoy the kind of red-hot sex life that most couples only dream about. And the best way to make that dream a reality is the step-by-step system you're getting in Passion and Attraction that lasts. Simply claim your risk-free trial by clicking the button below, fill out the secure form, and you can start using these secrets right away. Remember, you are completely protected by my better than risk-free guarantee. If you don't think Passion and Attraction triggers a dramatic turnaround in your sex life, if you don't feel like it truly rekindles the spark in your relationship, if these insights don't have your woman hungry for sex and quivering for your touch, or if you're not satisfied for any reason, just let me know. Anytime within 60 days, I'll refund every penny you paid. No hassles, no runaround, no questions asked. And of course, you get to keep all 3 bonus reports completely free of charge. So what are you waiting for? You have nothing to lose and a life of true happiness, satisfaction, and closeness to gain. Click the button below and claim your risk-free trial now. If you're still watching and you find yourself on the fence, I'll add one quick little fact for you. I worked very closely with a highly paid and well-known marketing consultant in crafting the script for this video. And all of it is true, though for obvious reasons, I changed the names and some identifying details of my clients when telling their stories. I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's a crazy thing about human nature that I had to hire a marketing consultant in the first place. I mean, why on earth do you have to convince people to get something that they know they need and that will absolutely make them much happier and more satisfied for many years? Why do you have to sell a man on the chance to get a step-by-step blueprint for supercharging his woman's sex drive and become the man who's the one and only focus of that passionate sexual desire? All for a tiny fraction of the cost of crap they blow their money on every single day. Well, because that's just the way humans are. It's hard to get people to do things that are good for them in the long run. Anyway, this consultant urged me to talk about the high price of divorce, the lawyers, the split property, the additional expenses of living apart in separate homes, and then to compare that with the price of the program. And then, he urged me on that basis to charge a minimum of $397 for the program, which, may indeed end up the ultimate price after testing. But I did not create this program for the man who's afraid of losing money in a divorce. I created it for the man who'd be willing to spend anything to reconnect with the woman he loves. I created it for the man who realizes he's met the one, and he wants to create the foundation from the beginning that will guarantee lasting passion, attraction, and playful, sexy fun in his relationship for a lifetime. And that's why I insisted on this $97 test. I don't want to leave out the man who simply couldn't have afforded it otherwise. Now, even now, I know there's going to be some men who simply can't afford it, even at that price. But for less than the price of a ticket to a ball game or a night at a local strip club, I honestly believe that for any man who's serious about his relationship, it's going to be a no-brainer to find a way to grab his copy right now. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen, and I hope to see you in the program. Either way, I wish you a happy and healthy life of passion, fulfillment, and love. I'm Alex Allman.